we go.
Okay.
What's up, everybody? It's Jason Cruz from MMA Payout. We are doing something a little different yet again. We are chatting with MMA gym owner, Belton Lubas, old friend of mine. I used to train with him a couple of years ago, way back when. He's moved on to bigger and better things. Belton, how you doing?
I'm doing great. So for those of you who know, I'm actually on a Zoom on where I'm pointing my hand. Then I'm actually doing Facebook Live. So work with me here. But yes, I'm doing great. Doing great. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm great. I'm great. So tell us a little bit about, your Facebook Live fans will know what Warrior Strength is all about, but tell us a little bit about your gym. You're out here in Seattle, Washington, Bellevue, Washington, to be exact. But
Okay.
tell us a little bit about the gym, when it started and all of that.
So originally I was in a dance studio before this, and it was a little difficult because it wasn't really a ballroom. It was a ballroom dance studio. You could tell when you walked in, the mirrors, the wooden floor, a really nice studio. Laid down some mats, and when we just kind of survived out of there for 2 years. It's really hard because I couldn't really change the signage, so people were looking at this dance studio. And I would literally have people while I'm teaching class circling the parking lot. And then my phone's going off as I'm teaching class, and I can't answer the phone and find out I really was losing a lot of customers because they're like, you know what, man, I'm in the parking lot. I see Harley Davidson, I see cash and carry, I don't know where you're at. So the lease was up, and the owners of the dance studio wanted to pass on the lease to myself. I did not want to do it. It was crazy ridiculous because it was a very visibly seen area. It was a kind of a mall complex area. So I was struggling. I was really worried that I wasn't going to be able to continue. Had a student base and all that stuff, teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Filipino martial arts, Muay Thai, Sambo. And so we pretty much were in a position where January was coming right around the corner. I had Thailand set up ready to take off to go, and there was a lot of things happening pre-corona, and I think that's one of the subjects we're going to talk about. So when the opportunity came and we found this studio, this warehouse, jumped right on it, built it out, a lot of sweat, blood, and tears. The students that helped out, really a lot of props to them, and thank you for that if you're watching. And I had to take off to Thailand.
Tell us quickly a little bit why you had to go to Thailand, and you kind of like what you do outside of the gym, because it's pretty interesting stuff, right?
Yeah. So my Ajahn Suchart told me there's a workshop that the Muay Thai Sports Authority was doing. We had Muay Buran grandmasters, Muay Thai grandmasters, and they wanted to impart the knowledge with the Sports Authority. And this was the first time they'd opened up to Westerners of this kind of workshop. So representing, Washington, myself, my organization, Warrior Strength Muay Thai, and also the United States, because there was people from different parts of the world that were there, Italy, Canada, US. So it was a week-long workshop in 4 days. I forget how many days now. But basically, we met at the Sports Authority of Thailand, and we did everything from Muay Buran. We did all the basics and teaching, a lot of the history, the terminologies, and really understanding Muay Thai. So that was already preset. I couldn't change that. This is pre-corona. So I did that. I did a dance in front of all these hundreds of crews.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's equivalent of doing a black belt roll in front of 500 black belts, if that makes sense.
Jiu-Jitsu black belt roll, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it was pretty nerve-wracking. And then sitting up top with the monk, and very spiritual, very old school, very authentic. It was quite an experience, something that you can't ever have. And having been blessed by the monk, and last year the king of Thailand gave his blessing with the monk call. It was quite an experience. Even with that ceremony, they asked certain people in that workshop to do the white crew. So I was one of them, and so we did the white crew. People were watching. We did a little demo. We got to watch authentic Muay Thai fights. It was awesome. Great time. Brought a student, crew Chris came, and Rihanna, one of my other students. There was a bunch of other coaches that were supposed to come, but it just didn't work out. A lot of, things finances, timing, and everything like that. So the community helped allow me to go, and I'm just going to give shout out and thanks to the seminars that people held for me to raise money. It takes a lot to go out there, so this isn't something that just, let me just throw a couple of grand out there. So really want to thank those who helped me get to Thailand. So that happened.
And
even
when did that happen?
February 6th, around
In
that
Thailand.
week.
That's when you went to Thailand, right?
And if you notice, Corona was already coming onto the scene.
Mm-hmm.
So even going on the plane, everybody had their masks on, but the lockdowns haven't happened. The quarantine, started hearing rumors. A lot of things were going on. And I was actually even afraid that I was going to get stuck in Thailand. But we were just hearing all these things going on, came back, and then Corona, gave it a couple of weeks or a week or two, then Corona hit,
So when you were over in Thailand, let me ask. So we over in Thailand, you heard about Corona. Were you concerned at all? Were you any educated about what was going on yet, or is it still kind of new?
It was still kind of new. I remember all I'd understood about that time. It was coming out of Wuhan. There's this scary virus, etc. Well, we're in Thailand, so there was one case I think when we were there, and I didn't know what that meant. I mean, we're in Asia, so are we going to get hit more sooner than if I was in Washington or in Seattle? So I didn't understand, and we just kind of like, okay, how's this going to play out? But man, you're in Thailand, the sun. I mean, you're out there. Another thing that happened in Thailand right after I left, there was that shooting that occurred, the biggest shooting that ever happened. So there was lot. Yeah, you've probably guys seen it in the news, and my prayers and my heart out to the families. But I think 20-something people at a mall, and it's just interesting the world events that happen around this whole time frame. So
going back to your gym out back here in Seattle, or Bellevue. At the time, the one, how many members did you have at that point prior to coming to before leaving for Thailand?
The members roughly between, you're looking at around 90 to 110.
Okay. And then you started from nothing, right? I mean, you didn't have very many members when you left, when you opened up the one in the skate team. Yeah.
So you're right. There was a couple that followed, that knew who I was, and really with no marketing, really hard trying to put yourself out there. The hardest part was being in a dance studio, and a lot of people just not understanding. They're looking for this martial arts place or warrior strength martial arts, and we were in a dance studio. But you kind of make do with what you have, So there was a lot of sacrifices that were made. The people that came, we were training on wooden floors, even throwing each other on wooden floors and grappling. And then a student, the mats, I don't know if I can see it here, these puzzle mats right here. This?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Those puzzle mats were purchased by a student.
Oh, donate.
Yeah, donate it. And, I'm like, hey man, can we pay you back? It's like, nope, I want you to have that. That was shipped from Amazon here, and that's about 1,300 square feet, about 1,500 square feet of mats. We laid it all down on top of the wood, and we just trained. And it's not a very forgiving surface area. If you ever get thrown on mats that are barely 3/4 of an inch, or even Muay Thai, if you get dumped or you roll, those mats, it doesn't feel too good. So very humble beginnings. We were scared of hitting the mirrors, so we had to really a lot of control, make do with all the Thai pads we had, the sticks and whatever equipment. But even in this day and age, there's a lot that had transferred across that type of training to our current situation. Shadow boxing, being in a situation where how do you train with minimal stuff? We didn't have heavy bags. You look behind me, we got heavy bags now. We had 0 heavy bags for 2 years, 0 heavy bags in the former gym. So here we are at this gym, and you know what? All it did was hone our pad holding skills. All it did was make us more aware of our surroundings and our environment. And again, kudos to the students, their patience, their dedication, their loyalty, saying we don't care if there's heavy bags. We'd love to have it, but it is what it is. We know there's no black belt here, and you're just a purple belt, but you know what? We'll still learn from you. So there's a lot of those things. I just want to give it to the community, that your community stands beside you 100%. And it's not because I'm walking around as this great Muay Thai legend or, a Abu Dhabi champion or IBJJF gold medalist. I'm not that guy. I mean, in the FMA world, that's a little different, and we can talk about that. But I'm not. FMA in itself is not exactly an art that most people are clamoring to just join a gym. Your jiu-jitsu and your Muay Thai. So really, I had to super service, be a good coach, and that's all. Like my merit is to follow. Is just be a good coach, be a good person, and just spread the art. And so those students stayed because of that. It's not because, again, I'm walking around being Sanchai Bulka or some kind of big time, golden era Muay Thai guy, or I'm not a famous 5-time world champion medalist Abu Dhabi IBJJF guy. So for those students out there or teachers out there, if you're listening, gym owners, I mean, your relationship with your students it's huge, and building that community. There's a book called Tribe, and you can just read in all these things on how to create that community and that vibe, and sometimes being yourself, but also being a good leader, and then knowing to kind of separate / converge those lines. Because I'm cool like that, and I'll hang out and throw a joke or two, but I also know when, hey, this is a leadership time. So and a lot of times some people are so far removed that they don't have that opportunity to show that, or they're just too lackadaisical, and they won't command that respect as a leader, so.
And so, I mean, but your name has kind of gotten through because you're training, you have or still are training people who aspire to be MMA fighters. And you appear on the regional circuit as well. And then, like, I've also seen from your social media, and we'll get to that later on, that you helped train Jaron Reed, Seattle Seahawks defensive tackle Jaron Reed, a little bit. Is that true? Is that a thing?
Yeah. Yeah. So going back to your question, so if you guys didn't hear, talked about training different people, MMA, Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners, and professional athletes like Jaron Reed. We've actually had DJ Fluker train too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we'll get to that. And Josh actually, who coaches here, held pads for him and stuff like that too. So
okay.
People are finding alternate sources of ways to train. People are finding alternate ways and sources to get fit. And so when you got professional Seahawks players, let's go, Jeremy. Let's go into the whole circuit. Yes, training fighters, MMA fighters, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai. I like to keep the arts separate and pure, and then out of that comes that MMA fighter. We don't have a MMA program. That's great. I mean, I even see like Eddie Ellis is watching right now. He's got a great program, a great MMA fighter, great coach. There's people on that probably can see this that have great MMA gyms. I think for us, even though I'm being interviewed by MMA Payout, to me, mixed martial arts, and you look at your traditional mixed martial artists, and one of the first mixed martial artists, in my opinion, is Bruce Lee, combining, your throws with his judo, his striking, and in the ground game. So for me, it's like, hey, work in your jiu-jitsu, work in your Muay Thai. So yes, I have fighters in those different categories, and I learn a lot about them. They learn a lot about me, and I actually cornering them, even reffing fights. You learn a lot about the sport. If you're gonna truly understand the sport, understand it completely either in its segmented aspects of it, and then combine that into your MMA class. But that's my opinion. I don't speak for everybody else out there. They might have an MMA program that's just strictly, purely MMA. But from what I know, a lot of the coaches up here in Washington are great coaches that have had those pure backgrounds, were great strikers. They invested in their grappling and they invested in their wrestling, and then their successes in their students and of themselves, having been legends themselves and or competitors that people have looked up to. Again, and I'm putting this out there, nor do I claim to be that competitor, but I just love to coach and really help people along their journey. And if that means me bringing in somebody else who's an expert, I would rather do that and try to be that guy, because I'm not that guy. I want that boxing coach to come in. I want professionals like, again, Coach Eddie, I know you're there. I see you watching. Have their feedback, and bring in their stuff to the table, because your students then look at you as somebody who cares about you rather than you worrying about losing them to another gym. Just, provide the best that you can, bring in more knowledge. Now, going back to professional athletes or Jaron Reeds or DJ Flukers or whatnot, whoever comes through this door, and sometimes we don't even advertise who we train because that's just not, like, hey, look, there's a famous person here. I mean, you guys saw Jay Park. I mean, come on, he's legendary Jay Park. He's trained here, and he comes through. And
just for my MMA Payout fans, Jay Park is famous for being, I guess, assaulted by Brian Ortega at a UFC event. He's the guy who I guess is he the quasi manager of the Korean Zombie or?
Korean Zombie, yes. Jay Park manages the Korean Zombie. Talented dancer, hip hop artist, rapper, producer, label owner, and his label. We have one of his rappers here, Daniel Darko. He trains out of here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Darko from Seattle, who, if you just looked at his Instagram, he just did something with Lil Mosey, who's from here too.
Yeah,
and
Blueberry
so,
Fago. There you go.
So it's a small circle, and it's not like I'm, come to Washington Martial Arts. We train rappers. We train Seahawks. Not that. Jaron Reed was recommended by somebody to come see me. So I get this text from his defensive coach. Says, hey, you want to work your hands a little bit more? Traditional martial arts, Filipino martial arts. Yes, he was suggested to do Filipino martial arts because of the handwork and the patterns, crossing center line, coming back from the left side with your right hand. And as a lineman, defensive lineman or defensive, anybody who's in there and has to move and manipulate another person, those hands and having that sensitivity training and that energy, it carries across. And there's easily great transference. I mean, you're looking at the San Francisco 49ers, they took ballet lessons. The Dallas Cowboys did Muay Thai with Ajahn Chai. So there's no reason why martial arts can't be translated across to anything. Professional athletes, I've trained Seattle Sounders, and he doesn't play anymore, so I can say it. But then I couldn't even advertise it. Oh my gosh, I blanked his name. I couldn't say it back then. I had to say Washington professional athlete. I'm blanking. So, but
we'll bring that back.
Anyway,
it wasn't Clint Dempsey. I mean, I'm not a huge Sounders fan, but I don't.
It's South Line though.
Oh, he's a what? Oh, okay.
Out there, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So I guess what I'm saying is when he texted me, and Jeremy texted, he's like, hey, what's up? My name's Jaron. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm expecting your call. And so he came in. We trained. A funny story, and he can tell you. One time we had to reschedule, and I send him a text. I'm like, hey man, I don't care who you are. I go, I know who you are, but don't ever stand me up again. He was just like, sorry coach, my bad, won't do that again. Mad respect for him. He's a professional player, Seattle Seahawks player, and he owned up to his because my time, I don't care. You can be the freaking CEO of this, that, and the other. You can be the man yourself, but if you set a time and respect that. And so he was being a great martial artist. He was giving integrity, respect, and going, hey, my bad. I'm sorry I didn't contact you earlier and missing that appointment. And like, come on, let's be honest. The guy probably had to study film and be the busy guy he is. But yeah, I think you as a gym owner, and I'm sure a lot of MMA gyms out there has trained famous people. We've had, like I said, Jay Park came through. By the way, Jay Park can move, man. As far as yeah, he can move. He can fight.
So what was it? Were you doing Muay Thai? Were you with Jay Park? What were you doing with?
So we did Muay Thai, but then we started sparring a little bit, and we did a little light kickboxing.
Okay.
Guy got feet, but he's a dancer. You guys see, he's a b-boy. The guy's got hip hop.
He's light on his feet.
Oh yeah, he's light. He's quick, man. He's quick. So Jay Park, if you're watching this, man, mad props. He's good. He trains a Korean Zombie. He trains a Korean Zombie, so I'm sure he's picked up a lot of good things. There's videos of him training a Korean Zombie. Yeah. I didn't post videos. I took pictures. People are like, you should show that. But I also have a utmost respect for people. I know I did one video with Jaron Reed doing sticks, and I double checked. Am I gonna, how's this work with the Seahawks and stuff? He's like, no, you're good, man. We're just doing sticks. So be respectful to those people too. Those guys, they do have certain obligations legally and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of, I don't know how that question.
No, that's awesome. So let's move ahead to your new layout. How you came about getting into it. Tell us a little bit about it. So how big is it? What does it have? It's 5,000. Really nice.
Yeah, it's 5,000 square feet. And let me flip the camera a little bit. I have two phones here, so I got you on Zoom and I got these guys on Facebook Live.
Okay.
So let me flip it. And let me flip this. Okay, so I'm going to step back here, and then this is the mat space these mats, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 6x36. So in other words, each strip, if you look at the strip right here, oh, still facing me. Hold on, sorry. Let me flip the camera. There you go. Okay, so each strip, so from this section right here, that's 6 feet, and it goes 36 feet across. This is actually from another gym that did an upgrade to their mats, a CAA down over in West Seattle. So
Okay.
giving them credit where credit's due. And the owner, Sonia, this mats had to find a different home. And so I was more than ecstatic to take it off her hands. These are Combat Corner heavy bags, and that relationship was from Ashley Wilhelm, who connected me with Combat Corner. And then the bags were actually purchased through, we got it from a foundation that we have, the Washington Muay Thai Foundation. We got some bags and went through a good cause. So we got the bags there. We got these mukjong from Dr. Kelly.
Yeah.
So these are silent fighters. You can beat them up pretty good. So we got the mukjong here. That ring back there, actually a lot of fighters have fought in that ring. And it comes from a gym down south in Puyallup, I believe, or Olympia.
Okay.
Where? Yakima. My bad. Yakima? No, not Yakima. No, this is so then the weight training equipment.
Oh, nice. So tell us a little bit. Once you guys are back in business with everybody, like what are your hours? What kind of classes you guys run? What do you do?
So we do have weight training in here, because if anybody who's known my history, I actually did pre-physical therapy as my undergraduate degree in Oregon State, and I was the lead trainer at Oregon State and the head strength coach at Redmond High School. So I've actually been involved in the weight training scene for quite a long time, and that's how I actually ended up at Washington. People didn't know I ended up in Washington because I actually opened up a gym in downtown Bellevue, and we got trainers that train out of here. You know, Mike Bailey's watching right now. He runs his strength training programs out of here, and so we don't need a lot between kettlebells and dumbbells and barbells and some equipment. So the hours are, we have a Fighters Fit class at Tuesday, Thursday at 6 a.m. And it's honestly battle ropes, body weight, bag work, a lot of body weight, a lot of shadow boxing, kettlebells, things like that. And that's Tuesday, Thursday. And then we have some of the fighters come through in the morning. So we train in the morning time between 10 and 11 a.m. or about 12:30. Privates in between. But the kids class starts in the afternoon, anywhere from the Muay Thai kids to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu kids, about 4-ish. And then we have Muay Thai, then Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, then we have the adult Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then the adult Muay Thai. And Combat Sambo also runs, and we also have FMA with the 3 FMA arts of Balintawak, Pikita Trisha Kali, and NSI, Dr. Kelly Warden, who's here locally, a grandmaster in Tacoma, who's trained special forces on base.
Nice. So let me ask you, I'm sorry to be just kind of gawking at your gym, but let me ask you, when did you have to close? When was your last day that you had you were forced to kind of like shut down?
Let me flip the camera here real quick.
Okay.
So as far as closing, I think the first mandate or stuff that came out was somewhere mid-March.
Mm-hmm.
They said bars, restaurants, and gyms have to respect the social distancing. And so we knew that was going to happen. They didn't come out with any hard, you must. So we were wondering how we could work that out. What does that really mean? Should we just do open mat and then people come in and respect the space? But then later on, they put on the full they implemented fully the quarantine, and we had to respect that. So then that came in you're looking at mid-March.
Yeah.
So around the end of March, and then you kind of put a hard set, like, hey, you can't have them in here. So we had to look at other options. At first, we thought we're going to open back up in April, right? So I think a lot of gyms out there, and I'm speaking for I see a couple owners that are, Puchak Tony, who's over and owns Mercenary Combat Academy in the Tri-Cities, is watching right now. And I talked to all my guys, Mercenary Combat Academy, Category 5 MMA. These are all Puchak crews under War Strength Muay Thai. And so we talk, and there's a group on Facebook, Washington Martial Arts gym owners. And there's another one that, then, you know, I talked to Ivan Salaberry, talked to Brian Johnson, Reese Andy, and a couple other guys. And I'm like, hey, let's start a group on Facebook just so see what are some of the best practices and strategies, because we're all kind of in this together. But anyway, when we didn't know what was going to happen, for me personally speaking, I thought, hey, you know, 2 weeks, whatever, we can write it out. We can work with some sort of compensation for the members. Then boom, we got hit in May, and they said, nope, all of May, right? Or January, March, April.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're all of April, and then you're not gonna be back till May. So we're like, great. So some gyms took the initiative right away, and we're doing online stuff. Some kind of waited out a little bit, and some went, full force. Friends out there who have Gracie Baja gyms, Rocky Abil, Jason Locke, and some of these other guys, they started, you should see some of their setup, camera lights. Patrick Valor Rivera, who owns Valor Training Center. He's a Muay Thai gym owner, and he's got a successful gym. He also has a focus group, and you know, some of the stuff that's in there and what those guys are doing. Some are really stepping out and are taking it to the next level. Even some of them are already creating products out there, online products, stuff that they can possibly continue even if we do go back into a normal, what do we deem as normal. So you're looking at Zoom. Some people tried Whereby. Some people tried Facebook Live. I think it was a landscape that most people didn't know about. And I made a comment. I'm like, it's kind of funny seeing people jump onto this landscape when, you know, they kind of resisted it. Some maybe even ridiculed it for those who are always on Facebook, because Belton's always on Facebook. I get that comment all the time, but I'm a business owner, you know, and,
right.
And here's the thing. Now I'm comfortable sitting in front of you in a camera. For some of these people, it's their first time being in front of a camera, and they fumbled, or, oh my gosh, this is different for me. So when the environment changes and it forces you to go one way, you either adapt with it or fight it completely, and you might pay the consequences because you're holding true to your integrity or whatever it is. And I've heard all kinds of stuff, right? Because traditional martial artists, the reason why martial arts hasn't entered the landscape as hard is martial artists don't want to sell out. And some of these old school martial artists aren't out there publicly. They don't have DVDs. They don't have online school or online training. And some of these grandmasters are in Seattle. We're talking guys who trained with Bruce Lee, but they don't have themselves out there. They're awesome martial artists. But now this forces people to go out of their way, create a landscape that they can disseminate information to their students and the public. And now, if I told you, hey, there's a swimming pool, I'll get to it, man. I'm just going to work on what if I just kicked you in the damn pool? You're going to learn how to swim. So a lot of people are literally in that position where they're literally got kicked into the swimming pool, and now they're going, holy crap. I thought I was going to invest in this later down the road in life, but I'm going to have to doggy paddle. While others are like freaking doing breaststrokes and, you know, doing some awesome freestyle because they took the time out and watched the landscape change and evolve with technology. So
two questions for you. What are you doing personally? And then the second thing is, how has the membership, you've talked about community at the outset, but obviously people have their own personal needs and financial issues as well during this trying time. How has membership, what's going on with that? I know gyms are concerned with a fall off in membership. How is that going?
So in these threads, you're going to listen to a lot of gym owners going through different strategies. One of them, article written by Stephen Kesting, who is Grapple Arts, I think he's grapplearts.com, and a great guy, Inosanto guy, also a Filipino martial artist. He wrote an article, and he talked about what we call a rolling freeze. One thing we did, and we offered, and maybe you guys in this social media, and you guys are watching this, you talk to your membership base, and look, when people panic, they make certain decisions, and if they want to make the decision and say, look, we just want to freeze, okay? It's one thing if one person does it. It's one thing if all 100 of your students do it. And 100 students freeze all their membership, and let's just take $100 a month just for sake of argument. That's going to hurt you big time financially. But if it's like, hey, look, it's a month, 100 divided by 12 is, what is that, $8-ish, right? Mm-hmm. About $8. Tell you what, we'll amortize that throughout the year. So you keep your payment at 100, but your next payment is $92 every month, because what we do is we're just spreading it out over. So that way we still keep you paying, but we'll make up for your loss of information, loss of service that you're not receiving. That's one way. Other people are doing free workshops when they get back. I jokingly did a video on the park at downtown Bellevue. I started dancing. I said, hip hop workshop. One of my students was a hip hop instructor, Sienna, shout out to Sienna. And I said, hey, can you do a workshop for my people? Because everyone's like, you didn't you used to dance? I'm like, yeah. So I'll do a workshop for them. And that way it's giving back. So there has to be some reciprocity, right? At the same time, some of these people are just doing it because they care about you as a gym owner. They care about you as an instructor, and they want to support your gym. Because I'm like, look, guys, this may be your home away from home, but there's not going to be a home away from home if we continue in this landscape. So some out of the goodness of their own heart, some single mothers who really don't, everything matters, and all that, income does matter, and every cent counts at this point, and they lost their job. I totally get it. And freeze their membership or cancel it. Some did a rolling freeze. Some, to them, $150 a month isn't much because they've got great paying jobs. Both husband and wife work from home now, but they never lost their jobs. Kids, in fact, are not even going to daycare or after school programs, saving $3,000 a month. So they're like, take my $150, or $100 or $200. So we thank those members, and we definitely, much love and shout out to those members. But again, if you don't have that community built around you, then, there's no support, So you have to know your people, and you have to communicate, because a couple of people didn't communicate properly. And this is gym owners telling me this. And suddenly in 1 week that had 7 cancels, the next week, another 10 more. That's 17 times $100 a month. That's $1,700 like that, when all they could have said, and I had some people message me, some gym owners, dude, I'm going to try that rolling freeze. I'm like, you know what? That worked. I had a parent go, you know what? I didn't know that was an option. Please put me back on a payment. Please put my payment back on. I want to support the gym. And then what I'll do is I'll take you up on that. And they've got a great jobs, and they're just like, we didn't know. We just kind of reacted, because right now we're in a reactionary state with everything going on. Freeze, react, so just sit back, think a little bit, take a breather, and just, what do I do? I've had texts come in throughout the day, because before our call, I'm losing my mind. This social distancing is killing me. I'm like, no one said you can't go outside in your front park, in your garage. No one said you can't move, man. And maybe it's just, maybe they just need a change of environment. I get it, but we have to adapt. And if you don't adapt and evolve, you're going to be stuck completely. Look at every martial art. Look at the sport of jiu-jitsu and what it evolved. Look at the sport of MMA, from the strikers, from the grapplers to the strikers, back to the grapplers, to the wrestlers, to the traditional martial artists, to the YouTube guys, it constantly evolved. And if you don't evolve, anytime they got hit with something different, everyone's like, we need to work on our boxing some more. And then suddenly you have people like BJ Penn, who outboxed somebody, didn't even hit the ground, So, it's just, you look at anything in life, if you don't evolve, adapt, and change, you're going to get stuck. You're going to face the consequences. And if you're trying to hold true to something, that's great. Much honor to you. But if you want to survive this situation, then you have to do your research, ask around, talk to certain people. I just got on the phone with Crew Brooke and asked her what she's doing up in Bellingham. If I call Reese Andy and like, what's up, Reese? What are you doing? John Mariansky, Ivan Salaberry, Brian Johnson. What are you doing with your show, Brian Johnson? Wasn't that in May? Well, now it's in July. I'm like, okay, how does that work? The more information I have, it's nothing wrong. It's like, what are you guys doing anyway? You're sitting at home, so why don't you do some research? What are some of the other resources out there for gyms? What does phase 1 mean? Where do gyms even sit? For a while we were facing this whole taxation thing, and we're fighting the fact that we're martial arts and not big box 24 fitness goals gyms. We're academies, we're learning institutions. So there's so much out there that it's a little bit overwhelming, and I get it, but you got to stay strong. It's a war of attrition. You just got to last through it.
Now, did your business have to or think about applying for for COVID-19 relief through the federal program?
I only know of one gym that received anything, And
oh, really?
Yeah, and so I didn't receive anything.
Did you attempt to? Huh? Did you attempt to apply?
Yeah, and I don't know, and maybe you guys, if you're watching, other gym members, I don't care if you post a comment there, please do. Let us know if you got what was successful for you. I know I just had two people tell me that they received their unemployment. I know there's a PUA, pandemic unemployment for
Yeah.
self-employed workers. So I mean, the government, and I'm not trying to make this a political video or anything like that. I know they're dumping whatever $3 trillion in. I mean, don't know where they got it, but okay, whatever. So they're dumping it into the economy and to us gym owners. But we got to figure out. Again, I'm not going to talk about like strategies for us, but I don't know what their plan is. But we need to know what's the next phases. Right now, people are wondering, what's next? Are we going to? Are we doing a phase one? Are we back on in May? Is it mid-June? If we don't know, how are we going to plan? How do we plan for that?
Okay.
Guys who either have shows. Yeah, I know guys who are preparing right now for a possible fight that may possibly still happen that got moved to July. I got two of my fighters. Micah Brown, who's the head striking coach over at Category 5 MMA in Tacoma. We got Henry Galindez, who's the head coach here for Sambo, Combat Sambo. He's preparing for his MMA debut, possibly July. But, we don't – what does that mean? And if the guys can't train, then Brian Johnson has to, what is he going to do then? So, and this is me calling these guys up too and just asking because, we're all socially distanced, but that doesn't mean you can't shoot a quick message, find out, because the more eyes and ears you have out there, you can kind of find the trends and kind of see where everyone's going. Sometimes it's misinformation. Let's be straight up. A lot has happened since then. Sometimes it's good information. It's just a matter of discerning what information you're going to take in and how you're going to adapt with it. So I'm, what are we doing? So going back to your question, what are we doing? We got Zoom. We got kids classes. The parents really need the kids classes because I do pre-recorded Muay Thai stuff, and we have a YouTube page, Warrior Strength Muay Thai, on the YouTube page. We have a private Warrior Strength martial arts group, but with the kids, I mean, the parents are like, please do the kids class, man. They need to see their coach. They need to have a coach getting up on them. So I totally understand, and so it's fun seeing the kids in there and swiping across and looking at a little box and, hey, make sure you grab your wrist when you get up and do the Kimura or do this, that, when you hip escape, get on your shoulder. So that's that's kind of fun. It's different. I bring my daughter in, my assistant,
Mm-hmm.
but I live with my daughter, so I'm going to have her go ahead and full mount me, so I'm going to have her, do a move on me, and that's okay. So, and then also being very careful because as gym owners, we also want to respect that, and we want to make sure the message we're sending out is that we're doing our part. So we have to, there's a fine line, Yeah, do we all want to open? I'm sure all you guys are watching now, you want to open right now, tomorrow, if possible. But we also, we've also got to be aware that the public eye is on us, and we got to make sure that we properly approach this because other people are affected in different ways. We can't assume that John Doe doesn't have a grandma that he's going to go visit soon, and then again, we're going to get into touchy areas, but
So
subjects.
that leads into a big question for gym owners like yourself. And I don't know if you formulated a proper answer, but assuming there's no vaccine for COVID-19, but you are allowed to open it back up, sometime hopefully soon. What measures will you do to ensure that the community, your community, feels safe at the gym?
Okay, so the question, Facebook Live, as you can hear from the speaker, MMA Payout asks, what measures are we planning on doing? We just did a live Zoom session today, and I said, and the question the student asked was, I go, any questions? We're about to end class. When are you going to open? I was like, what? I don't have the answer to that. And what's your plan, if you do follow the phasing? If you look at each bag behind me, they're 6 feet apart, all right? So if that means getting creative, where they're hitting the bag, will Lysol wipe it down after you're done, rotate people through. I mean, these are ideas, guys. I'm not saying we're doing this. I'm just, again, let's be clear, because I know if this is being publicly broadcasted, this is an idea. If they give us certain measures we have to follow, if you look at the mat space and behind me, I can probably fit 6 on a bag, maybe 10 more spread out in shadow boxing, following the forms that whatever drill that I pre-designated, and then rotate and maybe do a 30-minute rotation, 30-minute rotation. So then that way it's not an hour-long class. And if I only can service 10 people, 15, then what about the other 20 students that normally come in, or the other 15? So if we separate that time frame, that's one idea. And I don't know, other people might have different strategies.
What about jiu-jitsu?
That's great. So there's a lot of home-based workouts. There's a lot of, if you look at grappleguide.com, Jason Scully has,
Jason Scully. Yep.
Yeah, everybody knows Jason Scully. There's, I think, that 30 drills you can do by yourself. Great drills, guys. There's resources out there. I also can put up a link where you guys get a discount on Budo Brothers. Shout out to the Budo Brothers, but they work with Professor Eli Knight with Knight Jiu-Jitsu, and Professor Eli is a cool guy. Professor Eli Knight has stuff that you can do on your own too. So a lot of these things is hard because if you're a white belt and you don't know, you haven't had much mat time, maybe it's hard to kind of visualize that, because it's a very intimate, personal space, and the nuances, feeling that energy, feeling that body, that knee and belly on you, things like that, you won't get. That's where you have to get really creative, and your form has to be really on point. Because if your form's not on point, then you won't have the feedback of somebody on you. So you have to mimic a movement that best resembles it being real, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So you can't, if I'm hitting sticks with somebody and I'm whacking the sticks away, but I know I have no feedback, then I have to look at myself in the mirror and hit myself every time. If I'm shadow boxing, I have to hit myself, but not just shadow box down here. I think Sean Fagan, Muay Thai guy, he has a video out on the wrong ways to shadow box or the right ways to shadow box. Guys, I'm giving you guys resources. I probably should be pulling you guys towards my way, but they're all over the internet. There's people out there who have stuff that you can just look at, and you can be active instead of, what am I going to do? You can shadow box 3 rounds of 3 minutes. I guarantee you'll be putting up a sweat. And if not then do some solo drills, do some sit-outs, do some bear crawls, and then right into, Frogger push-ups, right into a backwards roll to a forward roll to a burpee to a sprawl. I guarantee you do just 3 minutes, 3 threes, then maybe do 3 fives. You're going to be like, I'm done. Okay, now do something else. Then plan for your day. Or tell you what, here's a crazy idea. Reach out to these people on the internet. Why? They're all on it right now. And, and for real, I had a guy from the UK message me, Tuhan, I have questions, blah, 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 blah. What do I do? Where do I buy sticks? I go see on Pappy Dog, Tuhan Nick Papadakis. Go online, Kali Gear or Bloodsport.com. Buy their stuff. I'm referring people out to get all the stuff they need so they can work from home. Then, you know what? I've been posting online, tons of stuff. Stuff in the Silent Fighter with Doctor stuff you can do, Carenzas on your own. If you have questions, hit up one of these Tuhans or Gurus or FMA Masters. I'm pretty sure they don't mind the interaction, considering they're probably holed up to themselves. And plus, that might build a relationship. You might have online. You might have an online student. There's a lot of things that can happen. It's whether you take initiative or not. And if you don't take initiative and you just sit there in your deep dark hole and wondering when this COVID thing's gonna be over and kind of in this scare, then of course it's a gloom and doom. So it depends on your outlook. Grab your wife who's never wanted to train martial arts. Grab your daughter and be like, yo, let me show you something. Because when you teach it, you learn it twice. When you teach something, you learn it twice. So why not? God, I can keep going on forever and giving you ideas.
I don't think my wife will be into that, but but no, I do appreciate you. We're going to have a part 2 to go over FMA. I just realized that because I'm running short on time. But Belton, it was great to once again reconnect with you. Tell us where you can be found from all this great information online.
I'm not kidding. WarriorStrengthMartialArts.com. Check it out. Our website is being revamped. If you want to hit me up, I'm on Facebook, Belton Lubas. I'm on Instagram, Warrior Strength Trainer. We also have Warrior Strength Muay Thai as its own entity, a Facebook page and an Instagram page. And Warrior Strength Martial Arts too, same thing, entity of Instagram and Facebook. under the TikTok or the Snapchat or blah, blah, blah.
What about the coffee? Do you guys do that? Well, I saw you had coffee.
Guys, for real. Jeffrey Rousey is Ronda Rousey's brother. He makes my coffee. So.
Oh, is that real? Is that real?
That is real. Jeff, shout out to your brother. His coffee, I'm a cold brew fan, and I have coffee snobs in my gym. And, man, he goes, I'm going to make this blend just for you. And shout out to Ashley for introducing me to him. I took one shot, man. It is strong. It is smooth. It's not bitter. It's in the process. So I'm getting about a dozen bottles. I'm shipping out a couple or so from people across the United States. But if you need to hit me up on that coffee, I mean, anybody who's tried it is a big fan, and they keep.
You're underselling the coffee. You're underselling the coffee. You need to push the coffee more.
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking about the coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you need to push it out more. You need to talk about it a lot more.
Yeah, you know what, man? It hit pretty big, and then I had it in my gym, and I would just give free shots to people. I'm like, here, start class, boom, just one shot, not a big 16-ounce, and they were like, holy moly, man. So I'll probably do a video, and when I receive it, and just pour a shot out and talk about it. But check out Facebook, guys. I did a whole thing, and Jeff Rousey actually explained that process and stuff. And what people don't realize, he does a lot of goodwill stuff, a lot of goodwill. He pays for those coffee beans more than what your big corporate coffee companies pay for. He takes care of them. He actually donates a lot of stuff in his time and resources to underprivileged people in general. So it's a local too. He's up in Monroe.
Oh, excellent. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Monroe, if Washington, for all those that are like, it's north. It's yeah. So anyway, Belton, you will be back on MMA Payout, and for being a guest, you get one of these.
Oh, what do I get? Wait, hold on. Well, guys, look.
You get one of these. One of my
What
books.
is that? Explain it.
Mixed Martial Arts and the Law. It's the book that I wrote. It's about all the legal cases that's happened in MMA. You asked for a signed copy, so I'm gonna go ahead and send you a signed copy. You could also get this on Kindle. It's
on Tinder.
Kindle,
oh.
not Tinder, not Tinder. You can't get it on Tinder. Kindle, Amazon. I suggest that's. You have nothing else to do aside from your FMA and Jiu-Jitsu from Belton and read the book. That's what you got going. So Belton, thank you so much for your time. We're going to have a part 2. We're going to talk about FMA and martial arts. Very interested. Like if you ever come about some of his videos with the knives, I know Paul Gift, a guy I do a podcast with, Paul Gift, MMA Analytics. He loves Filipino martial arts, and it's a really cool thing that we'll probably talk about more in depth when we have more time. So thank you very much once again, Jason Cruz, MMA Payout, the interview with Belton Lubas, an old friend of mine. WarriorStrength.com.
WarriorStrengthMartialArts.com.
WarriorStrengthMartialArts.com. Don't go to WarriorStrength.com. I don't know who those people are. So thank you very much, Belton, again, and we will see you soon.
You take care, brother. Hey, can't wait to get you in the mats, man. All right?
Yeah.
You got to roll. You got to roll. Okay?
Awesome. Okay.